Hello everyone and welcome to episode 3 of the Massive Modding Manual. So the first thing we want to do is address a step that I actually neglected to mention in the last video. And if you look at Immersive HUD, iHUD Special Edition, and SkyHUD, number 15 here, you'll notice that though I've numbered them 14 and 15, Immersive HUD is 14 and SkyHUD is 15, if you look to the right under the priority column, despite the fact that Immersive HUD is listed as 14, under priority, it's listed as 15, and SkyHUD is listed as 15, but under priority, it's listed as 14. And that is because although I decided that Immersive HUD should come before SkyHUD as a SkyHUD patch we installed depended on Immersive HUD, we actually just changed the titling when we went in here and clicked on the name and changed the number next to the name of the mod. But we actually never changed the priority, and that's a distinction that I want to make with you guys and be sure to mention. If you sort by mod name and you've got these listed and you've numbered them chronologically, numerically like we have in install order, importance, then when you click mod name, they'll be listed correctly like this if you ever need to reinstall. However, you actually still need to sort the priority. The priority column shows you in what order these are actually installed. And you can simply change that by dragging one to a different location. And I'm going to show you that now. So if you click on the priority tab, you'll see this moved up. That's because these were listed by mod name. If you click the mod name tab, it lists all of your mods by mod name, which obviously will put 14 before 15 because we've named them that way. But there's an inconsistency in that if we click priority, we'll see that actually SkyHUD is coming before Immersive HUD, despite the fact that Immersive HUD has been titled by us as 14 and SkyHUD 15. If you actually look at the real priority in which they're installed, you will see that actually SkyHUD is coming before Immersive HUD. So it goes 13, 15, 14, which is not what we want. So to fix this, all you do, say you are listed by mod name like we were in the last video. So it says Immersive HUD 14, SkyHUD 15, but over here you see Immersive HUD 15, SkyHUD 14. All you're going to do is click priority to sort the mods that way so that you can see that SkyHUD is actually coming before Immersive HUD in your order, even though it shouldn't be. Click Immersive HUD, hold, and drag it up above SkyHUD. That's all you need to do. Now these match. 14 Immersive HUD. The priority is also 14, 15 SkyHUD, and the priority is also 15, so they match now. Now you can leave this on priority sort. You can also go backwards, so from 19 to 0 in this case. Or you can leave it on mod name. It doesn't really matter now that we've fixed it. I would recommend definitely always checking your priority, though, by sorting things that way. So, but that's all for now. That was just a step that I neglected to mention in the last video, and I was like, I need to mention that at the top of the next video. All right. So now that you guys know how to download and install these mods, I'm going to be moving a little bit more quickly with this. So I've provided all of the links for all of these in the description of this video, and we're just going to get right down to it. So go to Enhanced Textures Detail and download that. Go to Noble Skyrim Mod and do not download the top file. That is for original Skyrim. Download the second file listed, Noble Skyrim Mod Full Pack for Skyrim Special Edition. Very important. Now scroll down on the Noble Skyrim Mod page to the update files and download this Noble Skyrim Mod Static Mesh Improvement Mod patch. If it won't let you download it through Mod Organizer, just do a manual download, and we'll install it as an archive. Go to HD LOD Textures and download the top file, the 1K version. Now go to the Great Forest of Whiterun Hold and download the main file, Whiterun Hold Forest. Now go to Patches for the Great Forest of Whiterun Hold and download Multi-Patch 1.4.2. Go to Skyrim 3D Trees and download the second file listed, the Skyrim 3D Trees 3.04. You can download the plants as well if you like them. I still prefer Verdant to the Skyrim 3D plants, although I haven't tried the newest update. We might have to try that and compare and see, but for now, download Skyrim 3D Trees. Download Verdant 1.5 SSE Edition, the top file on the Verdant page, and then scroll down a little and download the Realistic Water 2 Verdant patch. Now go to the Landscape Fixes for Grass mods and download the main file. as well as the alternate start live another life locations, as well as the cutting room floor locations, and the tweaks for Verdant. Download a Midian board, Caves and Mines, 2K version, that is the second file listed, not the top file. And for me, Mod Organizer 2 will not recognize and process this file for whatever reason, so we're going to have to do a manual download. I don't know if it's going to do that for you, but it probably will. Go to Real Roads for Skyrim and download the loose files version, not the BSA version, because we are going to be replacing one of these loose files with a fix. So very important to download the second file listed that says loose files right here, not the BSA version. This is another one that you will probably have to manual download because it is an old RIM file. Now scroll down and download the optional Real Roads for Skyrim, Dawnguard, and Dragonborn. Now download the Real Roads mesh fix. But very important, the optional file for Skyrim Special Edition converted to Special Edition with NIF Optimizer. We're actually going to learn how to use that a little bit later on. Do not download the top one. This is a mesh fix for original Skyrim. Download the Skyland Landscape Texture Overhaul 2K version. That is the top file. Download Nordic Snow 3.4.1 and get the loose files version, which should be on the top unless something has changed since this tutorial. Do not get the BSA version. Download Vivid Landscape Special Edition, the top file, main file, and then scroll down slightly and download this update file, the LOD correction file. Correction for the missing snow on LOD objects. That's important. Download the HD MISC file. This one's easy as there's only one file listed. This is another old RIM mod, so you're going to have to do a manual download and then install it from an archive within Mod Organizer. Go to HQ Food Ingredients 1.6 Cumulative, the top file, download that. This is going to have to be another manual download as it's an old RIM file, unrecognized by Mod Organizer 2. Go to Ultimate HD Fire Effects and download the Ultra version. Do not download the medium version or you will likely crash. This is another manual download as it's an old RIM file. Alright, once everything is finished downloading, which might take a while, especially for Skyland and the Noble Skyrim mod, go ahead and go in here and start with Enhanced Textures Detail. On the first screen, just hit Next. On the second screen, we're going to select Mountains and Volcanic Pools, Rocks and Cairns, Mark Hearth Rocks, and then scroll down and select Stone Walls. Then click Next. On this screen, select SHD Rocks and leave Reduce Light Flickering at Night unticked and hit Next. On the last screen, leave all of these unchecked and hit Install. Actually, first, let's name this 20 to keep our install order correct. Now tick the checkbox to install it. Now we're going to install Noble Skyrim Mod HD 2K, which as you'll remember, we installed as an archive as Mod Organizer wouldn't handle it. So go to whatever folder you downloaded the Noble Skyrim Mod Pack 2 and select the archive file and hit Open. This will bring up the installer as usual. I don't really like this long name for this, so I'm just going to type in my own here, 21 Noble Skyrim full, and hit OK. Now that's a fairly big file, so it might take a while to unpack. Once that's done, click that to install. And then we need to install the Noble Skyrim Static Mesh Improvement Mod patch. And as you'll remember, we downloaded that one manually as an archive as well. So just like in the last step, go up to this button over here that says install a new mod from an archive. Click that and find wherever you downloaded the NSM SMIM patch and select the archive and hit open. Now, I'm going to name this a little bit differently. I'm just going to name it 22 Noble Skyrim SMIM patch and hit OK. It's going to overwrite some files, but we actually want that. That's okay. Just let it do its thing. And then we're going to select that and you'll see this little lightning bolt with the plus symbol indicating that it has overwritten another mod's files has popped up, and you can click on the conflicts and see, and it's just overwritten some files from Static Mesh Improvement Mod to make them compatible with Noble Skyrim, so that is fine. Now we're going to install the HD LOD Textures Special Edition. Now if you can't find this because you just downloaded a bunch of stuff, you can sort your downloads by name, or what I like to do, by the file time, which is basically the time that you downloaded them. If you click file time, you'll see that my HD LOD Textures is up here right at the top, and everything is in the order I actually downloaded everything, which helps. So we're going to now install the HD LOD Textures. Let's rename this 23, and then I'll leave the rest of it as it is. Now double click Whiterun Hold Forest, the Great Forest of Whiterun Hold, to install it, and let's rename this to 24 space the Great Forest of Whiterun Hold. Click that to install it. Now install the Great Forest of Whiterun Hold patches, and let's name this 25 space, and I like to keep the name similar to the mod that it's patching. So instead of patches 4, I'd rather it be alphabetized by the number and then the same name as the mod for which it is a patch. So the Great Forest it needs to start with, and then I'll just put space patches. Okay. Let it overwrite whatever it needs to overwrite in the original Great Forest of Whiterun Hold mod. Now install Skyrim 3D Trees, and we're going to name this one 26 space Skyrim 3D Trees and hit OK. Click the checkbox to install. Now install Verdant 1.5 Skyrim Special Edition, and we're going to call this 27 space Verdant. Now tick the checkbox to install. Now double click Verdant after you've installed it, and go over to the file tree and find a Skyrim Grass plugin SSE version.ini. Right click it and select Open. We're going to want to select this line that says display F global contrast boost equals -0.2 and just delete it entirely. Then we're going to take the imin grass size and change this from 60 to 50. This will give us more dense grass. If you experience a performance loss, you might want to increase this. Try increasing this slowly, a little bit at a time, if you find that 50 is too dense and gives you a huge drop in performance. But that's what I run it at. So we're going to save this ini file and then close it, and then close this as well. Now double click Landscape Fixes for Grass Mods and title this 28 space Landscape Fixes for Grass Mods. Tick the checkbox to install. Now find a second file that says done as far as done downloading but does not say installed, that's also titled Landscape Fixes for Grass Mods. You should have 2 downloads that say that, but they are different. And so we do need to install them both, but you'll need to know which is which. So you've already installed the main one, which is 4.0.0.0, and then you'll have another one titled similarly, but if you hover over it, you can see that it says 1.0.0.0, and at the bottom it says Frost River Farm and Barley Dark Farm. This is the one that removes any conflicts between your grass mods, Verdant in our case, and Cutting Room Floor, which we do have installed. So double click that, and we are going to rename this 29 Verdant Cutting Room Floor Patch and hit OK. And actually, let's come in here and rename this one just so they're all together under the Verdant umbrella. Let's just call this Verdant Landscape Fixes. Now let's double click Tweaks for Verdant, which removes all small pebbles and removes the grass that grows on roads, Dirt 2 and Dirt 1. And let's call this 30 Verdant Tweaks. Or we could call it Verdant Road Tweaks, since that's more specifically what it does, and hit OK. Select that. Now double click Alternate Start LAL Locations. Double click that, and let's title this 31 Verdant Alternate Start Patch. And finally, double click the Realistic Water 2 Verdant patch, and we're going to retitle this 32 Verdant Realistic Water 2 patch. So now what we want to do is merge all of these Verdant patches, and I'm going to show you how to merge them. So go to the link in the description below for merge plugins xedit script and manual download that file. Okay, now go into the folder wherever you downloaded the merge plugins xedit script to and find merge plugins v1.9 and extract it. Now open up this folder and you're going to be copying this edit scripts folder into the install location of your SSE edit. So go to whatever folder you downloaded and installed SSE edit into in the first video. In my case, I've got them all consolidated into one folder. Find it, double click it to open it, and you'll see that your SSE edit program has an edit scripts folder and the merge plugins v1.9 xedit script that we just downloaded also has an edit scripts folder. You're going to drag the edit scripts folder from the merge plugins folder into your SSE edit folder and just let them merge. And you're done. Now we will have a script in SSE edit that will allow us to merge ESPs into one. However, since this final patch, Verdant and Realistic Water 2 patch, relies on a master that we have not yet installed, which is Realistic Water 2, you'll see when you tick that off, you get this little warning flag over here that's telling you that the Realistic Water 2 and Verdant patch is missing a master, which is Realistic Water 2, because we have not yet installed it. So you have basically two options. You can go ahead and merge the files that do not rely on any master that we do not yet have installed, in this case being Realistic Water 2, and leave the Realistic Water 2 and Verdant patch for later and just not merge it into the rest and leave it as a standalone so we can install Realistic Water 2 later. Or you can merge them all together, but SSE edit will not let you merge them if one of the mods relies on a mod that you do not have installed yet as a master. It will throw up a warning flag and say error, could not find file specified, because when you try to merge these, it will be looking for Realistic Water 2, since the Realistic Water 2 and Verdant patch relies upon it. And actually here, I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so what we want to do is go ahead and install Realistic Water 2 so that we can merge all of these patches into one now in SSE edit. So go to the Realistic Water 2 page and download Realistic Water 2 version 1.4.3. Okay, so when it's finished downloading, go ahead and double click Realistic Water 2. On the next screen, just leave this set to none and click next. Don't tick off any of these boxes. You could try smoother rivers, but because of some things we're going to be doing later, I think that runs the risk of some problems with your water flow later. So I would leave that unticked, but I have done it before with relatively few problems if you guys would like to tick that one, but I would suggest you leave it alone. Then click next. Now we're going to select watercolor for I need and I need. This watercolor version is for if you do not have I need installed, but we are going to be installing I need, even though we haven't yet. So select watercolor for I need and I need, nothing else. Now click the checkbox. I'm actually not going to add a numeric value to the name of Realistic Water 2 yet, because we are going to later be actually dragging this down much lower in our install order, in our priority order here. So I'm going to just leave it Realistic Water 2 because I'm going to be changing the install order on that anyways at a later time, or I should say we will be. Now you notice that the Realistic Water 2 patches that we just installed are now at the bottom of our load order. I want our Verdant patches that we're going to get ready to merge to be at the bottom to make them easier to find. Now even though this one, titled Realistic Water 2 plus Verdant patch, starts with Realistic Water 2, it's not one of the ones we just installed. It is actually one of the patches we are going to merge into the Verdant patches. So you're only going to select the bottom 3 Realistic Water 2 files, and I want you to just move them above the Verdant, a Skyrim Grass plugin SSE version file. This way, all of the patches we're getting ready to merge are at the bottom. Now you're not going to merge the main Verdant file. You're just going to merge the bottommost 5 files in our load order. So you should have landscape fixes for grass mods, landscape fixes for grass mods cutting room floor locations, tweaks for Verdant, landscape fixes for grass mods alternate start locations, and the realistic water tube plus Verdant patch. Now we're going to select SSE edit from the drop-down menu and click run. Now right-click anywhere in the window and select none, and then only select the bottommost 5 ESPs. And again, do not select the main Verdant a Skyrim grass plugin file, because these mods that we're getting ready to merge are going to rely on that as a master. If you try to merge them all, things are going to be severely messed up. So make sure you've got Realistic Water 2, Verdant patch, landscape fixes for grass mods, tweaks for Verdant, landscape fixes for grass mods cutting room floor, and landscape fixes for grass mods ESP all selected, nothing else, and hit OK. Let SSE edit load them up. Okay, once the background loader has finished, left click and drag a box over all of the mods that you want to merge, remembering not to include the main Verdant ESP file, but only the 5 beneath it. So landscape fixes, tweaks for Verdant, landscape fixes, Realistic Water 2, and Verdant patch. These 5 you should have highlighted, then right click and select check for errors. Hopefully SSE edit will find no errors and report back all done. If any of these mods have any errors underneath them, or it doesn't look like this, it should check for errors, and if there are no errors found, nothing else will show underneath that mod name when it pops up in SSE edit. If there are errors, you'll get a bunch of information that loads beneath the mod name for which there are errors found. But here we have no errors, it's reported back all done, that's exactly what we want. So now, with these all 5 still highlighted, you're going to right click, apply script, merge plugins v1.9, and hit OK. It seems that this is the first time you're running the script. Please set up your advanced options for future merges. Hit OK. Now, you cannot, for some reason with my resolution, see what these boxes say. You will probably be able to see the words next to these boxes, but you cannot see them in mine. So I will just tell you that the top box, you have to select if you're using Mod Organizer, which we are. So we're going to tick that off, and if you hover over it, you can see. If you're thinking, am I on the right box? I can't see what his say. Hover over it, and it should say, you must check this for asset copying to work correctly if you're using Mod Organizer. This must not be checked if you are not using Mod Organizer. We are, so we're going to click it. Now it wants to know the Mod Organizer directory. That's the path containing the Mod Organizer exe. Now, because we've got it, or at least I have it installed in a bit of an odd location, I'm going to have to manually browse for Mod Organizer by clicking in this little folder here. Find the folder in which your modorganizer.exe application resides and select that folder and click OK. Now the next checkbox, though you cannot see it on my screen because of my awkward resolution thing going on here, is copy general assets, and you do want that ticked. So make sure that is selected. All of this other stuff here you can leave alone, and then just make sure that you have the batch copy assets box ticked off, which it should already be. You can't really even see mine, but on your screen you should have something that says batch copy assets. I will probably leave a link in the description below to a video that explains this a little better, in which you can actually see these options that someone else has made, because I can't. I don't know why mine is messed up like that. So here you want to change your asset destination directory to Mod Organizer's overwrite folder. Do you remember how I was talking to you about how you can create mods from your overwrite folder? Well, that's what we are going to do with this merged plugin. So browse for asset destination directory, click that folder, find where you've installed your Mod Organizer data folders. Now, I kind of glossed over that a bit in the Mod Organizer installation in the first video. You hopefully will have set this up by now. If not, you can go into Mod Organizer and change your settings for your paths in the paths area of the Mod Organizer settings. And you could go in there now and find out where your data is going to, your overwrite folder and your mods, etc. However you do it, find your overwrite folder and select that. If you need to figure out where your overwrite folder is, or if you don't have it installed correctly, or if you have no idea where it is, pause the video now, go figure out where the data is being stored for Mod Organizer and where your overwrite folder is, and come back here and redo this and select it in the Asset Destination Directory section of this options pane. Once you've done all that, you've got the Copy General Assets box ticked off. You've got the I'm using Mod Organizer box ticked off. You've got the Mod Organizer directory set up where the Mod Organizer executable resides. And you've got the Asset Destination Directory set to wherever your Mod Organizer / overwrite folder is. Hit save. Now it's going to bring up a box showing you which ESPs are going to be merged into one, and which ESPs those ESPs rely on, and therefore which ESPs your new merged ESP is going to rely on. Now, you don't want to select any of the checkboxes for any of these masters for your new ESP. Just leave the ones that you've selected to merge ticked off and leave the other checkboxes empty and hit OK. Now you're going to get a dialog box that says choose the file you want to merge into below, or choose create new file to create a new one. You are not going to merge into an existing file. Most of the time when we do this, you're going to create a new file. So leave create new file selected and click OK. Name this whatever you like, though I'm going to name it Verdant Landscape Patches Merged, with capital merged, so it'll really stand out in my mind, and select OK. You will get a progress bar, and it is writing these files into your Mod Organizer overwrite folder. Once it is done, sometimes it'll kick you back to the Mod Organizer screen, but SSE Edit is still open. Just tab back over to it. You'll see your new patch at the bottom of the order of mods on the left pane of SSE Edit. You want to right-click your newly created patch, in our case Verdant Landscape Patches Merged, and select Check for Errors. Checking for errors in Verdant Landscape Patches Merged.esp. All done, no errors reported. So now you can go ahead and close SSE Edit, but here, make sure you right-click, select None, and only select your new Verdant Landscape Patches Merged.esp, or whatever you decided to name your merged patch. Otherwise, it will send all of these into your overwrite folder, and we only want our newly created merged patch sent to the overwrite folder so that we can then create a mod from the new ESP. Make sure only it and only it is selected, and then click OK. Now SSE will return you back to Mod Organizer, and you'll see your new merged patch down here at the bottom of the load order unticked. What we want to do is right-click the overwrite bar, select Create Mod, call it whatever you want really, but usually the same as you named your merged patch, Verdant Landscape Patches Merged. Select OK, and you'll see it removed the ESP from the bottom of our load order, and packed it into our new mod file on the left-hand pane of Mod Organizer. To reinstall and reactivate our new merged patch, we are going to tick it off in the left-hand pane, and you will see the new Verdant Landscape Patches merged.esp file in the bottom of our load order. And if you hover over it, you can see what files are in it by looking at the description: merged plugin, landscape fixes for grass mods.esp, landscape fixes for grass mods cutting room floor locations, tweaks for verdant.esp, landscape fixes for grass mods alternate start locations, and realistic water 2 plus verdant patch. And it will also show you the masters upon which it is dependent. Now, it is important when you create these merged patches to make sure you look at the description and what patches are actually merged in case you forget, because now we no longer need any of these verdant patches that have now gone into the Verdant Landscape Patches merged.esp, thus reducing our load order and allowing us to install more mods. We are going to do this often. So now that we've merged these patches all into one mod, deselect Verdant Landscape Patches, Verdant Cutting Room Floor Patch, Verdant Road Tweaks, Verdant Alternate Start Patch, and Verdant Realistic Water 2 patch. We no longer need them as we've merged them all into a single patch. Make sure you leave the main Verdant A Skyrim Grass plugin mod installed. Now, if these patches had contained BSAs or meshes or textures, we would have to add those to the newly merged patch in order for this to work. But since all of these patches only contain in their file tree an ESP file, you need nothing else. Later, when we start to merge armor and weapons patches, you will need to follow additional steps after the SSE merge patching script that we just went through. And I will tell you about those later. Now I'm going to go ahead and rename our newly created patch mod 28 Verdant Landscape Patches Merged, and just move it up above all of these. Now we're going to go ahead and remove all of the Verdant patches that we just merged. From the left-hand pane, we're going to just remove them completely. Now we won't always be doing this. Depending on the mod, sometimes we'll need to leave these over here for later work, but for these we can go ahead and get rid of them now to tidy up this window a bit. Now I'm going to go ahead and end this video here because in the next video we're going to get into some complex things with loading an old rim mod into the creation kit to resave it in the new format for Skyrim Special Edition, and with going into mods and hiding very specific, pretty lengthy lists of files within Mod Organizer so that those specific files will give way to other mods that come before them and will be hidden from your game, and some concepts that I feel like will probably take a while to unpack. So I think we're going to go ahead and end this video here for now. I wouldn't recommend loading up your game to test it just yet, although if you want to, you can, but I would recommend that you at least disable the Realistic Water 2 I Need patch, as we do not yet have I Need installed. That being said, the I Need Realistic Water 2 patch does not actually have I Need as a master, oddly enough. So it might not create any problems to leave this checked, but if you want to test your game, if you absolutely must right now, I would at the very least deselect the Realistic Water 2 I Need patch. As we haven't yet installed that, we will be getting to installing I Need later, and then run loot to sort your load order. But I would recommend waiting until after the next video before you jump back into your save game to test things out. That's going to be it for now. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please join me in the next video so that we can continue modding our Skyrim to the fully modded to hell or massive modding manual setup. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.